Hey guys, welcome to another tea time show, or rather a cup of coffee today. Today I wanted to share with you just a bit more advanced tips on Google AdWords, specifically around optimizing for locations. So what follows in the next 5-10 minutes is all about AdWords Location Optimization. So the first thing we need to understand is where to look at this data in your AdWords account. So the first place we can look at this is in the Dimensions tab, and then you can do days of the week and time and all this kind of stuff. What we're interested in today is geographic. So this will break down all the data for each of your campaigns to tell you where your traffic is coming from and then how it's behaving. Okay, so let's just add some columns in here. So let's just do town and city, don't worry about this kind of stuff. And obviously, depending on what data you've got set up in your account, if you've got the cost per click, obviously is in here, the click-through rate, those sorts of things. Hopefully you have conversion tracking set up. If you don't, are you nuts? Get it set up. You need that. Just don't run an AdWords account without conversion tracking. If you're an e-commerce store, or you've attributed values to conversions, if you're trying to generate leads, then you would have a cost per conversion in here as well for each city, so we can optimize based on that data for each individual campaign or your whole account. So you can see here we've got a whole bunch of countries and territories and all sorts of stuff. Okay, so in this view we're just going to filter, so we've got anything which has cost us more than £100 for any given city. The thing I should point out, by the way, is you really need a lot of data to make decisions about this. There's no point in excluding or changing bids based on 1 or 2 clicks. You need quite a lot of traffic from any given city or town or location to be able to judge whether this is working for you or not. Otherwise, you could end up excluding some places which could work out to be quite good, but you'll never know. So make sure you've got lots of data. First tip. So the second one is, let's do our cost per converted click is, let's have a look at, let's say it's more than £20. Okay, and then we'll order by, let's order by cost, so we can see the highest spending locations. So a few immediately that pop out here, this one here, and also this one here. So this one here, Milton Keynes, we've had lots and lots of clicks here. The click-through rate is kind of in keeping with the rest of the account, not too high, could be better. The cost, we've spent 150 quid in quite a long period, to be fair, but we've only had one conversion. We've had one click converted that actually bought something. So I might want to think whether I want to continue advertising in that particular location. Okay. Let's just look at this. Let's just modify this a little bit. So let's look at a bit more data here. So where are we? Costs for these locations. Okay, so the Milton Keynes one again sticks out like a sore thumb. Durham isn't performing too great either. So there's a few there that we might want to think about going, do you know what? Do we need those locations? Are we getting enough sales? Can we optimize the site? Is there something else we could do there, or should we just exclude it? Which you can certainly do. So that's one way of looking at the data. And as you saw in these views, that we can look at these different columns and change the sort orders and look at different things. So we've identified a problem. So what do we do about it? How do we modify this? Okay. So we come into settings, go to locations, and then we want to, what triggered your ad geographically. Okay, so what we're looking for is, let's order by cost, and then again we're looking for cost per converted click. Now United States, clearly there's some campaign that's been running and pointing there, and not surprisingly this is a UK company, but the United States has wasted 940 of our pounds and we've got 1 sales to show for it. So my guess is this is historical data in this particular account and we're not advertising there anymore. Good. we certainly don't want to pay £900 for one sale, not unless we're selling something a lot more expensive than this website is. So next, moving on. So here's another one. So there's a campaign here. This is just looking at, again, United Kingdom. That campaign's just not working. Let's have a look at, United Kingdom, and let's just look at county level for United Kingdom. Okay, so now a bit deeper into this data now. So now Greater London, £26 a conversion for this particular campaign. Let's have a look. This one, Hampshire, this is working pretty well. Some of these are very low, working really, really well. But we're looking for high spend, so Greater Manchester. Okay, so there's a few there. Some of these. Now, I think in fairness, just looking at this data, remember we've got all the campaigns mixed up with the different locations. Now, it certainly looks like this particular campaign just isn't working very well at all. So it's not the fact that it's Hampshire or Kent or Greater London or whatever which is producing the high cost per conversion. It's the keywords, maybe the landing page, maybe the product pricing, any number of things it could be that's actually kind of screwing this up. So in this particular instance, this isn't what is, it's not Hampshire that's causing a problem. Go Hampshire. This is just that particular campaign. So you need, again, just to be careful about kind of making decisions with this data. The fact that it's not converting well doesn't mean to say it's the location. It could be other things. So let's dive. Let's go a little bit further down through this. Let's see if we can spot some other. Okay, here's another one. Greater London, £51 a conversion. And here's this TSB 1012. Again, £50 a conversion. So these are high. So. Okay, so we've identified a few of these, and you'll be able to go through your own campaigns. Remember, you need a lot of data to make these decisions, or you could end up missing out on a heap of sales. So what do we do with this data? Okay, so let's assume we're thinking Greater London for that campaign. We just don't want that. Okay, so if we scroll up to the top here, we're going to get some options here to edit. Okay, now what we can do is, the first thing is just say, do you know what, just exclude them. I don't want to advertise in those locations for that campaign because it just doesn't work. Now, you might put some deeper thought into it and you might think, why doesn't it work? Can I change something? Can I fix the problem, or should I just stop it? And, quite often, it depends on the campaign, but quite often it might be a case of going, do you know what? We haven't got enough budget anyway. Why would I spend it in these locations that aren't converting? Let's only advertise in locations that do convert for us. So that's the first thing, is just exclude it. Take this option and turn it off and don't advertise in those locations. The second is that you could add these locations as specific targets. So remember, your campaign could be targeting the UK, but we can then add additional targets in here. And then say, right, do you know what? These locations, they don't convert too well for us, so I don't want to be in top positions, or I don't want to be as high as I am generally. So I want to decrease those by 20%, for example. Or you might want to be more aggressive and go 30%, or you might be less aggressive and go 10%. But obviously you can keep monitoring these, and you can see here that Oxfordshire already has an adjustment of 20% of our bids. So as it says here, if we are bidding £2, for example, then this is going to come down to £1.80. So that could mean the difference between being in position 1 or 1.2, 1.5 to maybe position 2 or position 3. It depends on the market and how competitive it is. So I would recommend that you kind of monitor this and make some adjustments. Or if you want to be more aggressive, just turn off those locations which just aren't working for you. But do be careful that it's the location that is causing the problem. So always look at the campaign overall stats to start with. If it's poorly performing everywhere, your problem isn't a location problem. Okay? If your campaign is performing okay, moderately okay, then you might find that there are certain locations for certain products or certain services where they just don't work. Why that is going to depend massively on the product or service that you are selling. If you're trying to sell, inflatable dinghies, my guess is that it's quite possible that the sales are going to be better near the coast than they are in the middle of the country. There could be any number of permutations why a product sells well in one location or another. It might be that the particular area, the product you're trying to sell is more of a kind of middle class or upper class product, and you're targeting lower class areas with lower incomes, and that's why it doesn't work. There could be any number of reasons why particular areas do or don't convert as well as others, and sometimes you just don't know, but you do know from this data that it just isn't working. So definitely spend some time, go and review your AdWords account now. We cover this quite a lot in the AdWords training that we do one-on-one online with people. I'll put a link up to that for you. But this stuff comes up. It's really handy. It could save you a heap of money on your AdWords spend, or if you want to be more positive about it, the areas that are working really well, increase the bids so you're in higher positions for those locations where your sales do come much better and your cost per conversion is lower, and you will increase your conversion rates overall over the course of the campaign, and of course your sales and your profitability as well. So I hope that's helped. As usual, find links. Find me on Twitter. I'm at Tillison. If you have questions about this or anything to do with Google AdWords, you're stuck on anything, then ask in the comments. Maybe I'll do another tea time show just for you to answer that question. All right, until then, enjoy your cup of tea.